You'll find the link to crypto emergency exit plan in the description and pinned in comments below. Most people lose money in crypto for one reason and nobody realizes it until it's too late. There's a signal, one tiny signal that tells you when an altcoin is about to explode or collapse. It's hidden in the data and almost nobody watches it. In the next 30 minutes, I'll show you 7 real market signals that beginners can actually watch. No paid alerts, no fancy tools, just raw data. Real patterns, the exact mistakes most newbies make that cost them months of gains. Until the surprise twist in the middle. It flips everything you think about safe altcoin entry, and it's the reason pros survive while retail gets wiped out. If you want clear, no fluff crypto education for beginners without the confusing jargon, hit the subscribe button now. I post weekly videos that break down trades into steps anyone can follow, and I help you avoid the expensive mistakes that cost most people years of learning. Volume spikes. Everyone notices them, but almost everyone reads them wrong. Here's the truth. A spike doesn't tell you if money is entering or fleeing. You need to see the direction. Volume is simply how much trading is happening, but context matters. A big volume spike during a down candle usually signals distribution, sellers dumping. A spike on a green candle with expanding bid side orders often means real demand. Think of volume like traffic. A lot of cars doesn't tell you if people are arriving or fleeing. You need to look at direction and speed. Watch this green candle, price rising, volume rising, that's demand. Now watch this red candle, same volume but price falling, that's sellers exiting. Ignore this and you can buy at the top while whales quietly exit. Imagine watching the price collapse after you thought this is it. That gut sick feeling, the one that keeps you awake at night. Next, I'll show you a signal that looks harmless but actually hides whale exits. Knowing this can save you a full portfolio wipe, and almost nobody notices this. Order books lie, but they don't. But they also whisper. One pattern in the order book predicts sudden moves if you know how to read it. Look for thin bids under price and fact asks above. This is the one. This is a one-way street downward. Smart players place fake buy walls to lure buyers, then pull them. Use level 2 or DOM if available. Watch for sudden cancellation of large buy orders. That's often a prelude to a dump. Visualize it like someone building a sandcastle at the tide line. It looks solid until the tide pulls away. If you don't watch the book, you might be the sandcastle when the wave hits. That panic sells your position at the worst moment and you lose everything. Now I'll show a deceptively simple indicator many beginners trust. It's the least reliable unless combined with one other signal. And here's where it gets dangerous. When the price climbs but momentum falls, this divergence is your red flag. Most people ignore it until it's too late. Use RSI or MACD. If price makes higher highs but RSI makes lower highs, momentum's fading. Think of it as a runner who slows while crossing the line. Eventually they stop. On altcoins, divergences often precede sharp pullbacks because psychology changes before price does. Watch this chart. Price climbs, RSI flattens. 2 days later, crash. The divergence was the warning. Missing divergence is like boarding a plane that's already losing altitude. The correction can be quick and brutal. Over 60% of sudden alt crashes show divergence 1 to 3 days earlier. Later, I'll combine divergence with liquidity clues to show an entry that has a much higher win rate. But this is where it gets dangerous. A single wallet move can move an entire altcoin, and that wallet often broadcasts its intentions if you listen. Watch blockchain explorers for large transfers from exchanges to unknown wallets or vice versa. Large inflows to exchanges often mean selling pressure is coming. Conversely, big withdrawals to cold wallets can mean accumulation by an investor. Use transaction alert tools or glance at top transfer lists. Think of it like a whale. A whale moves and small fish follow. If the turns you turn to ignore whale moves and you will be reacting to price instead of anticipating it. Reacting costs money and you lose. In a moment, I'll show how whales collaborate with fake order books to create coincidences that trap retail and almost nobody sees it. Altcoins don't move alone. Bitcoin and stablecoin flows often set the stage. One overlooked correlation gives huge signals, and most beginners ignore it. If BTC dominance drops while stablecoin supply on exchanges rises, money may rotate into alts. Conversely, BTC surges often pull capital out of smaller coins. Watch on-chain stablecoin inflows and BTC dominance charts. Think of BTC like the tide. Alts are small boats that float with it. If the tide pulls out, the boats drop. Acting against the macro tide is risky. You can watch an alt moon and still lose because the tide pulled out. Coming up, a secret misused by influencers that tricks beginners into FOMO at exactly the wrong time. And this secret could have saved thousands of traders millions. Surprise? This most reliable signal isn't technical or on chain alone. It's the combination of three small signals showing the same story. Alone, they give false alarms. Together, they are a near proof pattern. I call it the triple confirmation: volume plus order book shift plus on chain transfer. Most traders chase one, that's why they fail. This one insight could have saved thousands of traders millions. Here's the exact checklist I use before entering an altcoin. Check these three in order. This avoids most traps. Step 1: volume. Look for sustainable volume, risk over 3 to 6 candles, not one off spikes. Step 2: order book. Check that bid sizes are real and not rapidly cancelling. Step 3: on chain. Confirm either large exchange outflow, which means accumulation, or lack of big inflows to exchanges. Think of it like hiring someone. You wouldn't hire based on one interview. You want references, a resume, and a background check. Using this stops emotional buys and turns fear of missing out into calculated moves. This is the difference between panic sell and holding for a win. Now I'll show you a real trade example where following this checklist would have changed the outcome. And this is where it gets dangerous. Real example: altcoin X. How a beginner would have lost 40%, but using the checklist they have either avoided it or turned it into a 3x. Watch this chart. Initial pump with fake volume spike. Order book fake walls. Large exchange inflow. Post move crash. Now watch the alternate timeline. Triple confirmation matched. Entry was held for a large move. This isn't theory. These are actions you can apply today. The difference between panic sell and holding for a win is clarity. Finally, I'll give you the single most important risk management rule to protect your capital. And this rule preserves your ability to trade again. Final payoff. The single rule that matters: position size plus stop placement based on liquidity, not price. Don't set stops at arbitrary percentages. Place stops below the nearest real liquidity zone and size your position so that a stop loss equals a small percent of your portfolio. Use percentage risk per trade 1 to 2%. Determine stop placement using support zones and order book depth. Use smaller size if liquidity is thin. This rule preserves your ability to trade again. It keeps you in the game, and that's the difference between surviving and getting wiped. One last thing: how to keep improving this system without getting overwhelmed. If this made sense and you want more step-by-step tutorials for beginners, subscribe now and hit the bell. We will break down trades, alerts you can use, and the psychology behind smart decisions. Before you trade another altcoin, watch the next video where I break down the fear and greed index and show you exactly how to use it with the triple confirmation so you can avoid one of the biggest beginner mistakes. Click here.